The big money is not in the buying and the selling but in the waiting. Those who keep learning, will keep rising in life. Like Warren, I had a considerable passion to get rich, not because I wanted Ferraris, I wanted independence. I desperately wanted it. There isn't a single formula. You need to know a lot about business and human nature and numbers. It is unreasonable to expect that there is a magic system that will do it for you. There are 3 ways to go broke: liquor, ladies, and leverage. There is no better teacher than history in determining the future. There are answers worth billions of dollars in a history book. We have 3 baskets for investing: yes, no, and too tough to understand. Envy is a really stupid sin because it's the only one you could never possibly have any fun at. There's a lot of pain and no fun. Why would you want to get on that trolley? Knowing what you don't know is more useful than being brilliant. Spend each day trying to be a little wiser than you were when you woke up. Day by day, and at the end of the day, if you live long enough like most people, you will get out of life what you deserve. I constantly see people rise in life who aren't the smartest, sometimes not even the most diligent, but they're learning machines. They go to bed every night a little wiser than they were when they got up, and boy does that help, particularly when you have a long run ahead of you. Live within your income and save so that you can invest. Learn what you need to learn. It's remarkable how much long-term advantage people like us have gotten by trying to be consistently not stupid, instead of trying to be very intelligent. Take one simple idea and take it seriously. In my whole life, I have known no wise people who didn't read all the time, none, zero. A great business at a fair price is superior to a fair business at a great price. If you can get really good at destroying your own wrong ideas, that's a great gift. You'd be amazed at how much Warren reads and how much I read. My children laugh at me. They think I'm a book with a couple of legs sticking out. People calculate too much and think too little. Develop into a lifelong self-learner through voracious reading. Cultivate curiosity and strive to become a little wiser every day. Go to bed smarter than when you woke up. All I want to know is where I'm going to die, so I'll never go there. I think that every time you see the word EBITDA, you should substitute the words bullshit earnings. We have 3 baskets: in, out, and too tough. We have to have a special insight, or we'll put it in the too tough basket. Do the work on your desk. Do well with what you already have and more will come in. To get what you want, you have to deserve what you want. The world is not yet a crazy enough place to reward a whole bunch of undeserving people. It's not supposed to be easy. Anyone who finds it easy is stupid. When you mix raisins and turds, you still get turds. Acknowledging what you don't know is the dawning of wisdom. It takes character to sit with all that cash and do nothing. I didn't get to the top where I am by going after mediocre opportunities. If you keep learning all the time, you have a huge advantage. Being something and doing something that no one had done before are 2 different things. A majority of life's errors are caused by forgetting what one is really trying to do. The best thing a human can do is to help another human being know more. The habit of committing far more time to learning and thinking than to doing is no accident. One of the greatest ways to avoid trouble is to keep it simple. The system often goes out of control. Opportunity comes to the prepared mind. I paid no attention to the territorial boundaries of academic disciplines, and I just grabbed all the big ideas that I could. I try to get rid of people who confidently answer questions about which they don't have any real knowledge. I believe in the discipline of mastering the best that other people have ever figured out. I don't believe in just sitting down and trying to dream it all up yourself. Simplicity has a way of improving performance by enabling us to better understand what we are doing. You should avoid sloth and unreliability. Envy, resentment, and self-pity are disastrous modes of thought. Self-pity gets fairly close to paranoia, and paranoia is one of the very hardest things to reverse. Those of us who have been fortunate have a duty to give back. Whether one gives a lot as one goes along as I do, or a little and then a lot, when one dies, as Warren does, is a matter of personal preference. We recognized early on that smart people do very dumb things, and we wanted to know why and who, so that we could avoid them. Live within your income and save so you can invest. Learn what you need to learn. It's waiting that helps you as an investor, and a lot of people just can't stand to wait. If you didn't get the deferred gratification gene, you've got to work very hard to overcome that. All intelligent investing is value investing, acquiring more than you are paying for. A lot of people with high IQs are terrible investors because they've got terrible temperaments. The liabilities are always 100% good. It's the assets you have to worry about. The most famous composer in the world but was utterly miserable most of the time, and of the reasons was that he always overspent his income. This was Mozart. If Mozart couldn't get by with this kind of asinine conduct, I don't think you should try. We're not interested in taking a substantial chance of taking a lot of very decent people back to go, so we can have one more zero on our net worth. Mimicking the herd invites regression to the mean. You must force yourself to consider opposing arguments, especially when they challenge your best-loved ideas. Warren Buffett and I insist on a lot of time being available almost every day to just sit and think. That is very uncommon in American business. We read and think. Our game is to recognize a big idea when it comes along when one doesn't come along very often. 99% of the troubles that threaten our civilization come from too optimistic, therefore we should have a system where accounting is way more conservative. We try to operate in a seamless web of deserved trust and be careful of whom we trust. Assume life will be really tough and then ask if you can handle it. If the answer is yes, you've won. Just because you like it does not mean that the world will necessarily give it to you. I would argue that passion is more important than brainpower. Is there such a thing as a cheerful pessimist? That's what I am. Remember that reputation and integrity are your most valuable assets and can be lost in a heartbeat. Always take the high road, it's far less crowded. You need patience, discipline, and agility to take losses and adversity without going crazy. No wise pilot, no matter how great his talent and experience, fails to use a checklist. There is no way you can live an adequate life without making mistakes. Invert, always invert, turn a situation or problem upside down. Look at it backward. All I want to know is where I'm going to die, so I'll never go there. Worldly wisdom consists of a set of mental models framed as a latticework to help solve critical business problems. Good businesses are ethical businesses. A business model that relies on trickery is doomed to fail. If you're going to live a long time, you have to keep learning. What you formerly knew is never enough. So if you don't learn to constantly revise your earlier conclusions and get better ones, you're like a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. A majority of life's errors are caused by forgetting what one is really trying to do. I met the towering intellectuals in books, not in the classroom, which is natural. My family was into all that stuff, getting ahead through discipline, knowledge, and self-control. Wall Street has too much wealth and political power. I've seen so much folly and stupidity on the part of our major philanthropic groups, including the World Bank. I really have more confidence in building up more capitalistic ventures like Costco. It's like the slaughter of the innocents. It makes the people who run Las Vegas seem like good people. Everywhere there is a large commission, there is a high probability of a rip-off. Some people are extraordinarily good at knowing the limits of their knowledge because they have to be. The iron rule of nature is, you get what you reward for. If you want ants to come, you put sugar on the floor. Part of what you must learn is how to handle mistakes and new facts that change the odds. Life, in part, is like a poker game wherein you have to learn to quit sometimes when holding a much-loved hand. Another thing, of course, is that life will have terrible blows in it, horrible blows, unfair blows. It doesn't matter. And some people recover and others don't. Confucius said that real knowledge is knowing the extent of one's ignorance. Aristotle and Socrates said the same thing. Is it a skill that can be taught or learned? It probably can, if you have enough of a stake riding on the outcome. Wisdom acquisition is a moral duty. It's not something you do just to advance in life. You are not going to get very far in life based on what you already know. You're going to advance in life by what you learn after you leave here. One solution fits all is not the way to go. All these cultures are different. The right culture for the Mayo Clinic is different from the right culture at a Hollywood movie studio. You can't run all these places with a cookie-cutter solution. There's a tendency to think our present politicians are much worse than we had in the past. But we tend to forget how awful our politicians were in the past. Most people are too fretful, they worry too much. Success means being very patient but aggressive when it's time. You don't have to have the ability that quantum mechanics requires. You just have to know a few simple things and really know them. Don't drift into self-pity because it doesn't solve any problems. There is not more money to be made from the law, but less time to enjoy it. If something is too hard, we move on to something else. What could be simpler than that? The best armor of old age is a well-spent life perfecting it. I think that one should recognize reality even when one doesn't like it, indeed, especially when one doesn't like it. If you can't stomach 50% declines in your investment, you will get the mediocre returns you deserve. The first $100,000 is a bitch. To get there, a person must consistently underspend his income. Getting wealthy is like rolling a snowball. It helps to start on top of a long hill. Start early and try to roll that snowball for a very long time. It helps to live a long life. The first rule of compounding: never interrupt it unnecessarily. To a man with a hammer, everything looks like a nail.